Community members gathered in Rockford Friday night for a candlelight vigil in response to the recent shootings in Minneapolis and ICE enforcement in communities. WIFR's Miriam Niesmeyer talks with attendees and leaders about why they say it's important to come together to reflect, share concerns, and call for action.
Candles, songs, and moments of reflection filled the room as dozens of community members came together for a vigil to honor those who have been killed by ICE officials in Minneapolis.
We're hearing outrage from people, we're hearing questions of how could this happen, and we're hearing fear. And unfortunately, that fear is impacting businesses, schools, and families in profound ways. We know that there are immigrant families right here in our community who are afraid to send students to school.
Reverend Violet Joniker says the vigil served two main purposes: to help people realize they are not alone and connect them with ways to take action.
And so we just want to message to the entire Rockford community that you're not alone, that we've got your back, and that ICE is not going to win.
I'm absolutely disgusted with what I'm seeing all across the country.
Jessica Sanders was one of many who attended the vigil and says she's concerned about human rights.
Due process is extremely important, and seeing the atrocities that are happening in Minnesota and all over the United States is really affecting me and affecting all of these people. As you can see, it's time for change, and it's time to stop the tyranny.
Illinois Congressman Darren LaHood weighs in on the Minneapolis shooting in a statement to WIFR, calling it a tragedy. "I support the mission of our federal law enforcement officers and the critical role they play in keeping communities safe. However, with their authority, officers must be held to the highest professional and ethical standards to maintain public trust." In Rockford, Miriam Niesmeyer, WIFR News.
Earlier today, some businesses and locals joined others across the country in protest following the recent violence in Minnesota.